topic. So I thought I'd tell you very quickly, about 8 to 10 months ago, Community Links Hawaii had the unexpected opportunity to explore occupying a 16,000 square foot warehouse, Mauka of Nimitz. And we had not planned for this. We really had no money to do it. But suddenly there was this opportunity to be in this warehouse for not that much money. So it didn't happen for small reasons, like it would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix up the warehouse. It was a second floor without an elevator, and the building was probably going to be bulldozed in the next few years. We weren't sure, maybe, maybe not. So it didn't work out, but the opportunity gave us a chance to think, if you had 16,000 square feet of wide open space, what would you do with it? And I had the sort of serendipitous chance to have lunch with Oren Schlieman, who is the, I'll take the chance to introduce him, he's the president and creative director of Infographic, which is a design and brand development and management firm. And I happened to mention to Oren that we had this opportunity to be in the warehouse. And Oren opened up a huge can of worms for me, which was just the whole idea that you got to put a lot of thought into what is going to happen in this space, not just kind of how you would sort of structure it so there are offices and a kitchen and bathrooms and so on, but that the culture of your organization actually was tantamount to the thinking of that you needed to put into what would happen within the four walls of the warehouse, and who are the people and what are you trying to do, and everything has to be designed to create a culture in this space that will be relevant, pertinent, and on point with your mission. Oren said that if I was interested in him helping out, because of course as soon as we got into this discussion I do what all good nonprofits do, I started fishing for pro bono help. He said that what he would want to do is get together his colleagues Kim Payton and Ramsay Taum, and to help me think through kind of the visioning of this space and what the culture would look like. And that opportunity to have these three people together having a discussion never panned out with regard to the warehouse, but it stuck in my mind as very interesting threesome to have a conversation with. Oren, who I just introduced, Kim Payton, who is a board-certified organizational psychologist, among many other things, but how often do you run into one of those? And Ramsay Taum, who's the director of external relations and community partnerships for the School of Travel Industry Management, and lectures on cultural values in the workplace. So that these are not the usual three people that you would pull together if you were thinking about what to do in space. Then cut forward 10 months, and as many of you know, because you were here last month, we did a presentation on board governance. And as I was putting together that presentation with Kathy from Alston Hunt, I started thinking, well, board governance is clearly, an essential part of nonprofit work. It's so important, but it's really, even though it's so important, just one aspect of the governance of an organization, and kind of like the structure of how you manage an organization. But what happens within that structure is a completely different issue, and is something we didn't address at all at last month's session. And I knew that going in that would be this big gap, and in fact, several of you pointed out that was a gap, and you hoped that we would follow up with it. And as it happens, we have the chance to think of board governance as the warehouse. Think of the conversation today as what you do in that warehouse. And for some of you, this exercise might be prospective. You might be thinking, I'm building an organization, what will I do in my warehouse? Others, it's much more difficult. You've been operating for quite a while. And as Ramsay said in one of our prep meetings for this is kind of like looking in the mirror for you. It's an opportunity to look in the mirror and think through what do I see, and how is what is reflected in the mirror going to guide where we go from here, especially during these rather rocky times when it is an opportunity to evolve and to prepare for better times. It's a chance to look in the mirror and think through some steps you can take to change the culture and make it more focused on your mission going forward. I could go on forever about this topic, so I won't. I'll turn it over to the panel, but that's the introduction. So Ramsay Taum, Kim Payton, and Oren Schlieman